Hi, I'm Karen Vigiste. Today I'm happy to share the 3 most important questions that have the power to turn your life around by settling a serious dispute or a minor conflict before it grows into something unmanageable. But even then, there's hope. I created SimMed, which outlines all the problem-solving questions. So before I get to my top 3, I'll quickly explain what SimMed is for the first-time listeners. SimMed is the shortened form of 2 words, simplified and mediation. SimMed questions act as a troubleshooting guide so you can reach your best solution. Now for my top 3 questions. Number 1, ask each other, what do you need in order to solve this conflict? State that need simply and clearly, without the emotional overtones it most likely carries. A fight or dispute represents the collision of needs, and a battle over opposing needs can go on and on for weeks, months, even years, until one person eventually wears the other down. The one who loses might plot some way of getting even. So, for this very reason, we must take our focus away from those needs for the time being. It just might save your sanity. Question number 2 does this very well. Here it is. Which interests have contributed to your need? Did you know that every single need you have is linked to a number of interests? Here's an example. If I had a need for privacy, my interests might be to write fiction, to study the structure of a novel, to read, and meditate. It's helpful to see how needs and interests are linked. So here's a very simple little chart. The 2 small black circles at the top of each umbrella shape represents a person's need. In other words, 2 people, 2 needs. Each umbrella spoke underneath represents the interest going up to support the need of each person. So to answer question number 2, come up with interests that support your need. As many interests as you can possibly come up. Aim for at least 4 or 5 and jot them down. There is no need to rush this step. Take a break if you want to. When you've each listed your interests, then it's time to move on to the most critical part of SimMed Peace Talks. In the second half of question 2, explore the area where your interests overlap. In the diagram, this area is represented by the dots at the very bottom. Even remotely common areas of interest are well worth noting. Keep in mind that you 2 have a lot more in common that separates you. These common areas are vital because they land you in that sacred space known as common ground. Yes, it's sacred because our common interests are rooted in shared values that we hold sacred. The power of connecting at such a core level is huge. In fact, it creates a big emotional shift where you no longer see each other as adversaries but as allies moving in the same direction together. Let's go back to the interests that I listed as supporting my need for privacy. They were writing fiction, studying the structure of a novel, reading, and meditation. Those interests reflect the values of creativity, study, and independence. One of those general values is bound to resonate with another person, especially when that person is someone who is in your family circle or a close friend. Such relationships tend to share many values. Discovering your common ground leads to a breakthrough, because it's right here, at this turning point, that solutions begin to emerge. So naturally, the next question, number 3, is, what solutions can you create for the common interests? Here you brainstorm for a variety of solutions that address these interests. And in doing so, each person's need will also be covered. You see, your overall need could not and would not exist without the supporting interests. So back to question 3. This is like a free-for-all brainstorming session. Let the ideas fly. Avoid judgment because saying something negative could stop the flow of inventive solutions. To lighten up your solution search, why not inject a little fun by adding questions like, what solution would your doctor create? Or a movie star? Or a politician? If you're on a roll with this, then carry on. The idea here is to dream up solutions boldly. Even express some off-the-wall solutions because you never know what solutions they may trigger in the other person. You just never know. Hopefully this activity will lead to some laughter, which will certainly clear the air of any remaining tension. And of course, laughter can so easily connect people on the heart-to-heart level. A happy ending occurs when you both automatically feel good about one of the solutions. So I suggest plan a little celebration for your success. Anyway, you deserve it. Perhaps buy matching mugs to remind yourselves of your mutual victory. And you do have many reasons to celebrate. The stress is gone. Your energy level is much higher because fighting and bickering can really tire you out. You're also celebrating because you've learned a new way of solving future disputes. So now you can move forward with much more confidence and ease. And best of all, you've given yourselves the gift of peace. A peaceful mind that leads to a joyous heart. The worst case scenario that could ever occur is that you only get a little of what you need met, while still preserving your relationship though. And that isn't so bad, is it? You can always look forward to future talks to carve out more of what you need, since you've already established a precedent for that. I do have a word of caution. Please don't jump into these questions cold. I strongly recommend the warm-up phase that I introduced in part 1 of this series. It's just very important to start off on the right foot when so much is at stake. I just want you to increase your chances for happiness. As you know, conflicts come in many different shapes and sizes. So that's why I created a total of 22 SIMMED troubleshooting questions. They're all in my book called First Aid for Stress. You select the questions that you think are most relevant to resolve your issue. My book is available on my website, lowerstress.me. My next video will address peace talks for children under the age of 13. As I've said before, and it's well worth mentioning, it is so vital to teach children how to express their anger constructively. This will lead to less turbulent adult years. Who wouldn't want that? Some adults have told me that they prefer using the children's version of peace talks. Well, why not? Whatever works. The good thing about that is, when your children hear you and your partner settling a dispute in the same way that you deal with their fights, you're sending them a very strong message about the value of those same peace talks. If you happen to be a grandparent or child caregiver, what a wonderful way to teach youngsters anger management. Please click the subscribe button so you won't miss my video next week. If you happen to have a stress-related idea that you'd like me to cover in a future video, do leave your suggestion in the comment section below, or you can contact me through my website. If you like my content here, please click the thumbs up button symbol. Thanks for your kind consideration. Till next week.